Report to all world intelligence agencies for immediate action and collaboration with the author Jeff Loeb. White Hat Vanguard, securing tomorrow today, February 27th, 2025. The objective of this red team sabotage scenario is to simulate a coordinated attack targeting air traffic controllers across North America, crippling the ability to safely manage air traffic, potentially causing massive disruptions, delays, and air collisions. The goal of the sabotage is to disrupt the national and international air travel systems, creating chaos within civil aviation operations. By taking down the air traffic control systems, the coordinated attack aims to cripple air navigation infrastructure and expose vulnerabilities in air traffic control protocols, airline communication systems, and emergency management procedures. Attack Vectors 1. Electronic system interference, jamming, deception. Threat. The communication channels used by air traffic controllers, particularly radar signals, radio communication, and ground-to-air communication systems, could be tampered with through electronic warfare techniques, such as signal jamming or spoofing. Jamming. Signal jammers could be introduced to disrupt communication between pilots and air traffic control towers. These jammers would flood the airwaves with noise or disrupt the connection, making it difficult for pilots to receive critical navigation instructions or report their position. This would create confusion, particularly during busy flight times, leading to potential collisions or delays. Spoofing devices could mimic radar signals or radio frequencies, leading air traffic controllers to believe they are tracking legitimate aircraft when, in fact, the signals are coming from a rogue source. These attacks could trick air traffic controllers into clearing aircraft for takeoff or landing when they are actually in the wrong location or facing dangerous conditions. Motivation. This attack could be carried out by cybercriminals, terrorists, or hostile state actors seeking to disrupt the air travel system for financial, political, or ideological reasons. Additionally, individuals with a grudge against aviation or air traffic management might engage in this form of sabotage. Possible action: deploying GPS jamming equipment in key airspace sectors to create navigation errors for both pilots and air traffic controllers. Sending false radar signals to deceive controllers and create aircraft misidentifications. Mitigation: upgraded radar systems that are resistant to spoofing, including encrypted frequencies and multi-layered authentication for signals. Fail-safe communication systems that automatically switch to secondary channels in the event of jamming or interference. Real-time monitoring of air traffic communications and signal strength to detect abnormal behavior, such as signal degradation or discrepancies in transmitted data. 2. Insider threats and social engineering threat. Insider threats within air traffic control centers represent one of the most effective ways to disrupt operations, as these employees have direct access to aircraft communications, flight plans, and system controls. Malicious insiders could intentionally misguide aircraft or manipulate data flows, while social engineering could trick controllers into cooperating with malicious actors or making critical errors. Insider sabotage. An insider with access to the air traffic control systems could intentionally alter flight paths, clear aircraft for takeoff without ensuring safe distance, or manipulate flight delay information, leading to significant delays and chaos. Social engineering attacks. Attackers could manipulate or coerce air traffic controllers into making decisions that lead to airspace congestion or safety breaches. This could involve fake orders, urgent requests, or phony alerts from senior officials to overwhelm the controllers and cause confusion. Motivation. The insider might be motivated by financial gain, revenge, or a grudge against the company or industry. They could be influenced by extremist ideologies or even manipulated by an external actor to perform sabotage. Possible action: phishing social engineering tactics could involve impersonating airline representatives, aviation safety officials, or senior air traffic controllers, asking the controller to execute dangerous actions like allowing an unapproved aircraft into high-traffic airspace, infiltrating security protocols. A compromised employee might bypass access controls to alter aircraft positioning, weather data, or flight manifests to induce chaos. Mitigation: robust employee vetting. Regularly monitor employee behavior and conduct psychological evaluations to detect changes in behavior that could indicate potential insider threats. Security protocols. Ensure all communications and requests for airspace management are verified through multiple layers of authentication. Implement multi-factor authentication and role-based access controls to limit employee access to sensitive systems. Incident response training. Regularly train air traffic controllers on handling social engineering attempts, suspicious behavior, and unverified directives. Disruption of ground communications and network systems. Attacking ground-based communication networks, including fiber optic cables, satellite links, and data centers that store flight information, could paralyze the entire air traffic control system, effectively cutting off communication between the control towers and aircraft. Network disruption. Attackers might target the fiber optic cables connecting air traffic control centers, airport terminals, and emergency communication systems, either by cutting or tampering with the physical cables or introducing cyber attacks to take down network systems. Distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks. DDoS attacks could overwhelm critical communication channels, rendering them unusable and preventing controllers from effectively managing air traffic, leading to delays, crashes, or emergency landings. Satellites and GPS manipulation. Manipulating or hacking into satellite communication channels could lead to loss of navigation data or loss of signal, disrupting the ability to track and manage flights. This could be perpetrated by hacktivists, terrorist groups, or even foreign state actors. Their aim could range from causing chaos and widespread disruption to gaining access to valuable information for espionage or financial gain. Physically disabling communication lines. Attackers could target critical infrastructure like data centers, or sabotage the backbone cables carrying communication signals between airports and air traffic control centers. Injecting malware into communication systems to either disable transmission or alter data being sent to pilots and air traffic controllers. Manipulating GPS data to interfere with the navigation systems used by air traffic control, leading to confusion or loss of aircraft positioning. Redundant communication channels. Establish multiple communication channels, including satellite backup, encrypted radio systems, and alternate network systems, so that if one channel is compromised, air traffic management can switch to another. Regular audits. Implement penetration testing and network vulnerability assessments to ensure that communication systems and networks are secure from cyber attacks. Firewall and antivirus software. Use advanced firewalls, antivirus programs, and data encryption protocols to safeguard network infrastructure. Targeted disruption of high-volume airports, also known as secondary sabotage. Another form of sabotage involves targeting high-volume airports with the intent to create bottlenecks, delays, and panic among passengers and air traffic controllers. By targeting air traffic control towers at major airports, attackers can create massive disruptions in air travel, causing flight delays, diverted flights, or chaotic landings. Airport infrastructure manipulation. Attackers might target air traffic control towers, runway lighting systems, or digital flight management systems to manipulate incoming or outgoing flight schedules. Crowd control sabotage. Introducing false alarms, threats, or suspicious activity in major airports could overload security systems, leading to mass evacuations, disruptions in airport operations, and flight delays across the region. This type of attack is typically aimed at disrupting the aviation industry, causing economic damage, or spreading panic for political or ideological purposes. It could be perpetrated by terrorist groups, domestic militants, or even criminal organizations looking to disrupt logistics and gain financial leverage. Introducing fake threats or delaying communications to air traffic controllers at busy airports. Blocking runways or overriding flight management systems to change flight schedules or divert flights without clear instructions. Anti-terrorism protocols. Establish a rapid response plan for any threat that could disrupt airport operations, with drills conducted regularly. Tighter security at airports. Increase surveillance at air traffic control towers and other critical infrastructure to prevent unauthorized access or tampering. Decentralized traffic management. Use distributed control systems to prevent the total collapse of operations if one tower is compromised or attacked. Proactive security solutions for air traffic systems. The sabotage of air traffic controllers and the infrastructure surrounding air travel is a highly complex and devastating threat to the aviation industry. A successful attack could bring down entire air traffic systems, cause a catastrophic loss of life, disrupt economic activity, and damage the global supply chain. Proactive security measures must be implemented to safeguard against such attacks and mitigate the risks associated with potential electronic warfare, insider threats, physical sabotage, and cyber attacks. Mitigation strategies must be multifaceted, combining physical security, cybersecurity, employee training, and real-time surveillance. In the event of a sabotage attempt, the PBSVA-4 framework must be applied to provide immediate response, recovery, and incident management to preserve the integrity of North American airspace. By implementing robust physical defenses, advanced monitoring systems, and proactive threat detection, air traffic systems can be better protected against any potential sabotage, ensuring that aviation operations remain safe and secure. Scenario: cell phone-based attack vectors against air traffic control systems. This detailed red team sabotage scenario focuses on exploiting cell phone-based attack vectors that would directly target air traffic control systems and the infrastructure supporting aviation operations in North America. Given that modern air traffic control systems are increasingly reliant on digital communication and network connectivity, the attack will be carried out with a cell phone and remote capabilities, ensuring that the attacker can operate undetected from a distance, complicating efforts for the authorities to trace or counteract the attack in real time. The sophistication of these attacks lies in the manipulation of cellular technology and digital networks, leveraging the interconnectivity of mobile devices with critical infrastructure such as air traffic management systems, airlines operational systems, and satellite communication channels. These capabilities provide a pathway for devastating sabotage with a mobile phone as the primary tool of attack. Key attack vectors involving a cell phone. 1. GPS spoofing and signal manipulation. Threat cell phones, through advanced apps or modified software, can be used to spoof GPS signals to manipulate the position of aircraft, creating false positions on air traffic controllers' radar systems. This GPS spoofing attack makes it appear as though aircraft are in incorrect locations, which could lead to dangerous mismanagement of air traffic, collisions, or forced diversions. Additionally, aircraft can be guided to off-course routes, causing disruptions in flight schedules, delays, and safety risks. How? The attacker uses GPS spoofing apps on the mobile device to inject false GPS coordinates into the aircraft's navigation system, forcing it to follow wrong instructions from air traffic controllers. Action. The attacker can deploy multiple GPS spoofing devices to confuse radar signals at different ranges. This would introduce chaos in airspace management, as controllers struggle to identify legitimate aircraft. Objective: to mislead controllers, disrupt flight paths, and prevent safe landings or takeoffs by feeding false positioning data. Mitigation: multi-source positioning. Use hybrid navigation systems that rely on multiple data sources for aircraft positioning, including inertial navigation, radar, and satellite systems. Encrypted GPS. Deploy encrypted GPS signals with integrity checks to prevent unauthorized manipulation from devices such as cell phones. Real-time monitoring. Continuous monitoring of aircraft movements and position discrepancies by independent tracking systems, and cross-referencing with flight plans to detect spoofed GPS data early. 2. Mobile device communication intercept and manipulation. Threat. Mobile phones are a gateway to intercepting and manipulating communication between air traffic controllers and pilots, especially if the devices are used to relay communications or disrupt signal networks. An attacker could potentially use a cell phone to hack into air traffic systems, gain unauthorized access to critical communications between pilots and controllers, and inject false orders or misleading instructions. How, using a modified mobile phone with malware or custom software, an attacker could access and manipulate radio frequencies, digital channels, or even cellular communication networks between aircraft and ground controllers. Action. The mobile phone could be used to send fake distress signals to pilots or air traffic controllers, causing confusion, miscommunication, and delays. Hijacking communication lines would render legitimate messages from air traffic controllers illegible or incorrect, leading pilots to follow erroneous instructions. Objective: to cause airspace confusion by creating communications blackouts or misdirecting pilots, potentially leading to accidents or crashes. Mitigation: encryption. Implement end-to-end encrypted communication channels that cannot be intercepted or altered using basic mobile devices. Signal authentication. Use cryptographic signatures for communication between pilots and controllers to prevent unauthorized signals from being introduced. Secure networks. Ensure that all communication systems are isolated from public mobile networks and protected by advanced firewalls and network security protocols. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Exploits for proximity attacks. Cell phones often utilize Bluetooth and Wi-Fi technologies to connect to local networks, including those inside airports, control towers, and air traffic systems. Exploiting Bluetooth vulnerabilities or Wi-Fi network weaknesses could allow an attacker to connect to unsecured internal networks, accessing control systems or air traffic management databases that would otherwise be protected. Once inside, the attacker could modify flight schedules, introduce false data, or disable critical air traffic management systems. The attacker could use Bluetooth exploits to connect to internal communication systems or Wi-Fi networks within airports, planes, or air traffic facilities. From there, the mobile device could inject malicious code or disconnect systems. An attacker could also use a Wi-Fi man-in-the-middle attack to intercept sensitive data transmitted over unsecured Wi-Fi networks in and around air traffic control towers and aircraft. This could include injecting commands or false alerts into flight systems. The objective is to access internal networks, disrupt air traffic systems, or inject false data to cause airspace confusion or physical damage to aircraft. To mitigate these threats, ensure all Bluetooth and Wi-Fi networks are encrypted with strong, multi-layered security to prevent unauthorized access and exploitation. Isolate critical infrastructure such as air traffic systems and flight data from public and unsecured networks to reduce the attack surface. Continuously monitor wireless communications and network traffic for anomalies or unauthorized devices attempting to connect. Mobile-based denial of service, DOS, and distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks. Cell phones can be used as part of a larger botnet to launch denial of service or distributed denial of service attacks on critical air traffic control infrastructure. By overwhelming communication systems, radar systems, or even digital platforms used to manage air traffic, attackers can cause the systems to crash or become temporarily unresponsive, severely hindering their ability to manage air traffic and coordinate flights. An attacker could use multiple compromised cell phones to flood air traffic management systems with high volumes of requests, causing system slowdowns or complete failures. The mobile device could trigger high-frequency requests to specific radar, communication, or data management systems, flooding them with traffic and rendering them inoperable. This could create a multi-day service interruption, forcing manual operations and increasing the risk of human error. The objective is to prevent air traffic control systems from functioning properly, causing massive delays, flight cancellations, and potentially dangerous flight deviations. To mitigate these threats, implement redundant communication and radar systems to ensure continuity of operations in case one system goes down due to overload. Use intrusion detection systems to detect suspicious activity or abnormal traffic patterns that may indicate the start of a DDoS attack. This would enable early detection and prevention. Utilize rate limiting and traffic filtering to block abnormal traffic spikes and prevent overload on systems. Cellphone-based remote access to air traffic control software. In more sophisticated attacks, a cell phone could be used to remotely access air traffic control software. Attackers might exploit vulnerabilities in remote access systems or connect to insecure servers that store flight data or control systems. Using remote access apps or vulnerabilities in air traffic management systems, attackers could use a mobile phone to log into systems, manipulate flight schedules, divert planes, or send false instructions to pilots or controllers. The attacker could access and modify flight paths, delay or cancel flights, or even issue false orders to ground flights. This could result in significant disruptions across the airspace. The objective is to disrupt national or international air travel, cause disasters, and expose vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure. To mitigate these threats, enforce multi-factor authentication for remote access to air traffic control software, including the use of biometrics and encrypted tokens. Implement a zero-trust network model, where every device or user trying to access the system is treated as a potential threat and is required to pass multiple verification steps before gaining access. Regularly audit and update remote access systems, including testing for vulnerabilities and ensuring that access rights are appropriately managed. Proactive measures for protecting air traffic systems. The cell phone-based attack vectors outlined in this scenario illustrate the ease with which attackers can exploit vulnerabilities in air traffic control systems, communication networks, and airport infrastructure. These attacks leverage the accessibility and mobility of modern smartphones to cause devastating disruptions, create confusion, and ultimately endanger air travel safety. To mitigate these threats, the industry must adopt robust security measures, including encrypted communication, multi-factor authentication, redundant systems, and real-time monitoring of both physical and digital assets. By integrating these proactive defense measures and strengthening collaboration between air traffic authorities, security agencies, and airlines, the aviation industry can safeguard against these emerging threats and ensure the safety and continuity of global air travel. Through PBSVA-4, comprehensive protection strategies can be developed and implemented that enable air traffic control systems to operate securely and efficiently, even in the face of such extremely bizarre cyber exploitation.